Hello, maurieos 2019 Engineering Maths Weekly Quiz 2 Review. Hello, welcome. Well, how did you do in Quiz 2? Perhaps things went well, which is awesome. Or perhaps things didn't go quite so well, so you need to perhaps refresh or just to see how things go. Well, all of these are possibilities, so it's very important that we review what we do and perhaps just analyse and see what we can do, how we can make it better next time. These are important factors in everything we do. So let's just pop over to the big screen and have a look at Quiz 2. And here it is. The question 1. The discharge Q meters cubed per second in a venturi is given by this formula. Calculate the value of Q correct to two significant figures when, and it's given a whole lot of values there. Now the two significant figures is correct, is significant. That's why they're called significant figures. No. That's what the examiner has asked for. So just in these tests, the total is out of 10, so you just have to multiply what you got by 10 to give you a percentage. So 10 times 10 is 100% for Stew Ideal, but whatever you get, multiply it by 10, that's your percentage, and then you can put that into the grade predictor, and we can see how you're going, see how you're tracking. So units are very important in these as well, but they're asking you to calculate Q, but as you can see there, it's Q over A. So it got a little bit tricky there. All right, so the first thing to do is to fill in what you know. All right, fill in what you know. And they've told you what the answer is going to be. It's going to be in meters cubed per second. So I've just filled in what I know. Q over A, 4.19 times 10 to the negative 3 equals the square root of 2 times 9.81 times 1.98, which are all figures that we're getting from down here, all over 1 minus 0.25 squared. Now, that there all equals a number. That all equals a number that we can work out. And I've worked that number out here, but we need to do that on our calculator. So what we do is we get our calculator out over here. Now, hopefully this is something like what you've got, and maybe all clear to start with, just to get everything clear. So, all right, so what have we got here? We've got a square root. So there's the square root there. And it's of a fraction. So, here's our fraction here. And so in the top there, we need 2 times 9.81. And I'm just doing this on my keyboard. Oh, we could do it here actually on the thing. 2 times 9.81 times 1.98. I was doing it on the keyboard of my computer. Then we can flick here. So that's the top line all done. And then we can do the bottom line here, which is 1 minus, now that's 0.25 squared. So we can go x squared. Oh, no, that's not going to work. So I'll just delete that or go back. That didn't work very well. 0.25. No. I might have to clear out 9.8. Here we go. We'll tab down here. So I'm going to start again. So square root, and then my fraction. There's my fraction there. And then 2 times 9.81 times 1.98. And then we drop down, and that's 1 minus 0.25 x squared. That's very good. 2 times 9.81 times 1.98, 1 minus that there, and equals. And that gives us 6.437191934. So I've just recorded that as 6.43719. I've written it down as, but I've retained it in my calculator here. So now that there is Q over 4.19 times 10 to the negative 3 equals that. So if we multiply by 4.19 times 10 to the negative 3, that'll give us the answer that we want. So yeah, we've got to do that little bit of extra work. So now I'm going to go times, and it's put up answer already there. So I'm going to go, now watch the 4.19 times 10 to the x, and it's negative 3 equals, and there we get 0.02697183421, or 0.02697. Aha! But they've asked for it in the question, so we've finished with the calculator there. We've written that all down. In the question, they've asked for it correct to 2 significant figures. So we must put it correct to 2 significant figures, and don't forget your units. Units are important. So 0.027, 2 significant figures. The 0 is not significant. It's the first 2, usually the first 2 non-zero digits. So 0.027 meters cubed s to the negative 1, or meters cubed per second, brackets, and tell the man what you've done, or the person, or the examiner, or the lady. 2 significant figures, that's what it is. That's how accurate it is, so that they know. All right, that's number 1 done. 1 down, 4 to go. 3 marks is what this was worth maybe in an exam situation, but we're just giving you 2. All right. We're going to be leaving those out next time, and don't forget you should have marked up here who your tutor is. All good. So here's the next one. Rearrange the formula to make n the subject. N, which is way down here. So you're trying to get n on its own. So let's have a look. The first thing I want to do is to get rid of the square root sign. So square both sides. Now you must do it to everything. So you've got a square Q, square A equals, and then you can take away the surd or the square root sign here, take that away. So we get 2GH over 1 minus N. Now we've got something over something, and it's as if each of them is in their own little bracket. So, and then we can cross multiply. So we've got Q to the power of 2, Q squared times 1 minus N squared equals 2GH a squared. Now we don't need to write all the little multiplication signs in with algebra. We're saving pen and paper. So we're just there, and we know that means 2 times g times h times a to the power of 2. So we've got that there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to divide through by q squared. So because this is a number times a number. So we want to try and get this n on its own. So we're going to divide through by q squared, which sort of gets only the n variable on one side. So that gives us this here. We get 1 minus n squared by doing that, because the q goes away, or we sort of get that out. And then that gives us 2gha squared over the q squared that we divided by. Now, then I decided, well, I'll just get rid of this 1, so I'll subtract it. And this is where you'll notice that in maths we try and avoid the negatives. So there might have been a better way of doing this, but what I've done here is gone -1, and that gets rid of the 1, so we've got 2gha squared over q squared minus 1. All right, but we've got negative n squared, so we want positive. So we'll just multiply everything by negative, and that just flips everything around. So the negative, this here becomes positive, n squared, getting closer to what we want. We'll just move down a little bit there. And then it equals 1, like I've got -1 here, so that's going to become +1 if we multiply by -1. So that's 1, and then this is positive, it's going to become negative. 1 minus 2g ha squared over q squared, and I'm running a bit short of room there. And then I'm just going to take the square root of both sides, which will give me n on its own. But when we square root things, we must remember that we get two values. We get a plus value and a negative value when we square root things. Square root of, say, 9. Square root of 9, well, we can have 3 times 3 is 9. -3 times -3 is also 9. So we must get two values. N equals plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 2g ha squared over q, or theta squared, whatever q it is. I think I've given it another thing there. You get the idea. 2 points for that. 2 down, 3 to go. Now this one here, all right, what do we do here? Well, looking at this one, now solve. See, this one says solve. So that immediately, solve. Ooh, detective. Solve. We've got to, that tells us we're going to get a value. We're going to get an answer. We've got to get an answer out of this. We're going to solve it. Okay. So, first thing we look at this, and bloody hell, look at all those fractions. How do we get rid of those fractions? And then we look here and we can see that, well, 20 is 5 times 4. And we've got 5s and 4s here. So if we multiply everything by 20, we're going to get rid of all the fractions. So y over 5 times 20 gives us 4y. 7 over 20 times 20 gives us 7. So we get 4y plus 7 equals, and 5 minus y, I put that in the bracket. So remember that with the little, the over sign, it's as if everything in the top is in a bracket and everything in the bottom is in a bracket. So 5 minus y times 5, if we go 20, and then 4 goes into that 5, so we get 5 into 5 minus y. That's what's going on there, because we multiplied that by 20. Okay, we could go 20 times that, but then 4 will go into that. So that's why we're doing. So that gets rid of all the fraction. So there we get 4y plus 7 equals 5, 5 minus y. So trying to do two things at once, multitasking. I'm going to get rid of that 7 at the same time as I expand this. So 4y equals 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times negative y is minus 5y, and then minus the 7, which we did there. So we see what I did there? Expanded and subtracted the 7 all at the same time. Now we're going to collect some terms together. I'm going to add the 5y, bring it over to this side. Negative 5y, bring it over here. So change the side, change the sign is a little rule that we can use, as well as what we do to one side we must do to the other. So we could say add 5y, or change the side, change the sign. Sort of the same thing, but as we get more confident, I guess we can do them more confidently. So 9y equals 25 minus 7 is 18. Now 9y equals 18, so I just do that like that, and then I put a 9 underneath to give me y. Y equals 18 over 9, which is 2. So that's number 3 all done. Alrighty. Now, if you've got any questions or any queries, put a comment or ask the question in the comments below the video. And that way you can feed directly back to me through my YouTube channel, and I can answer the questions or try and resolve them. If need be, I can make another video or refer you to some other things. So this is a way that I can help. So, yes. Comments below in the video. If you think there's something, a better way of doing things, well, let me know. You can email me or whatever. I'm pretty easy to find. If you just type maurieo into Google, you'll find me one way or another. And I'm happy to be found and happy to help. If I can help, I will help. Okay, so now, number 4, a simultaneous equation. 2 equations, 2 variables. We'll just go drop down in size a little bit. No, we won't. Oh yeah, there we go. So just zooming a little bit. Okay, there we go. Just getting that up there nicely like that. So simultaneous equations, 2 variables, 2 equations. We can solve it. 1 variable, 1 equation, well, we can mostly solve it. 3 variables, 3 equations. 4 variables, 4 equations. So it's pretty simple. Number of variables, x is a variable, y is a variable. They can vary. They can take on different values. So 2 variables, 2 equations. That's what we got here. All right, so we've got 3x minus 2y equals 13, and 2x plus 5y equals negative 4. Now I look at that and I see the y's. I see negative 2y and plus 5y, and I'm thinking, I like adding. I like positive things. So if I can get those y's to be the same, if I can get them to be the same, and then I add the 2 equations, I'll get rid of the y's. So what I do is I say, right, I'm going to multiply equation 1 by 5. Now remember, it doesn't matter. You can do as long as you do the same thing to both sides of the equation, it'll still be equal. So you can multiply any equation by any number you like. As long as you do it to all parts of the equation will still be true. And so I'm going to multiply equation 1 by 5, right, and equation 2 by 2. And you'll see. So 5 times 3x here. So 5 times 3x, 15x. 5 times negative 2y is negative 10y, and 5 times 13 is 65. All right, and then I go 2 times 2x is 4x, 2 times 5y is 10y, and 2 times negative 4, negative 8. And you can see what I did here. Very clever, very clever. Negative 10y plus 10y. If I add those together, the y's will disappear. So here we go. 15x plus 4x is 19x. I should have left a little gap there, but I didn't. And 65 plus negative 8, which is 65 minus 8, is 57. And would you believe it? 19 is a factor of 57. So divide through by 19, we get x equals 3. But hey, hang on. There's 2 variables. 2 equations, 2 variables. So we know x equals 3. So we need to find out what y is. So we find the easiest one. So, well, I don't know. I put it in equation 1. Yeah, it didn't have that nasty negative at the end there. So substitute x equals 3 in equation 1. So 3 times x is 3 times 3 is 9. Minus 2y equals 13. Now, then I subtract 9 from both sides. And I get negative 2y equals 4. Divide both sides by negative 2 down here. I just sneak that one in, negative 2. And you get y equals negative 2. So here's my answer here. X equals 3, y equals negative 2. So we could try it in here and see what happens. 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 5 times negative 2 is negative 10 equals negative 4. True. 3 times 3 is 9, minus 2 times negative 2 is 4. 9 and 4 is 13. True. Must be right. Spot on. Awesome. X equals 3, y equals 2. Take all the marks. Now, this next one. Yes, a word problem. So we've got to look very carefully. A garden that is 4 meters wide and 6 meters long. So I've drawn it here. Here it is here. 4 meters wide, 6 meters long. Is to have a border. Now, a border goes around the outside of the garden, not the inside of the garden, because if you've got the garden and you put your veggies in there and then you're putting a border inside, well, you have less room for your veggies. So the border goes around the outside. Think of the border of a country. It's the outside. So this long is to have a border of uniform width. Uniform means the same width all the way around. Well, that makes sense. You wouldn't have an ununiform. All right, an ununiform width such that the area of the border is the same. So the area of the border is the same as the garden. So find the width of the border by drawing and labelling a diagram to show the situation. So there's 6 before garden and 24 meters squared garden, 6 before, because it says such that the area of the border is the same as the area of the garden, 24. So the border is going to have an area of 24. And then if the width of the border is W, you can see here that that's 4 meters plus 2W is going to be the width of the total, the whole thing. And 6 plus 2W is going to be the length, if you like, of the whole thing. So that's my little diagram there, pretty rough. So the total area is going to be 2 times 24 meters squared, or 48 meters squared. So total area is going to be equal to 48, and that's going to equal 6 plus 2w, the length, times 4 plus 2w, the width. Now, expand, get rid of the brackets. So we get 6 fours are 24, 6 times 2w is 12w, 2w times 4 is 8w, and 2w plus 2w is 4w squared. And 48 equals that. Now, if we bring the 48 over to the other side, make it all equal to 0, we get 0 equals, so we get 20, we get 40, negative 48. So 24 minus 48 is negative 24 here. So I've done a few things together here, but I've taken the 48 over to the other side, and then, so it became negative 48 plus 24 is negative 24. Then we can see here we've got our 12 and 8 is 20w, and I've brought this to the front, 4w squared. So we've got 0 equals 4w squared plus 20w minus 24. But hang on, even I can see that everything there is divisible by 4. We've got 4, 20 and 24. 4 is a factor of all of them. So, and well, if we divide 0 by 4, that's not a problem. So as long as we do it to everything in the equation, we get w squared, 4w squared divided by 4 is w squared, plus 20w divided by 4 is 5w, minus 24 divided by 4 is 6. And we get a nice little quadratic there. W squared plus 5w minus 6 equals 0. And we can factorize that. Now we can see that we've got that 5w, so we need a big number there, and it's positive. So we get w plus 6 times w minus 1 equals 0. Now each of those represents a number, so either w plus 6 equals 0 and w equals negative 6. Oh, our border has a negative width. No, I don't think so. So that's not a practical solution. Or w minus 1 equals 0 and w equals 1. The width of the border is 1. Also, so the garden would be 8 by 6, 48 meters squared. Garden and border would be 8 by 6, which is 48 meters squared. So the garden would still be 24 and the border would be 24. Pretty good, huh? Pretty awesome, really. And, well, that brings us to the end of quiz 2 and our review of it. So hopefully that's helped with your understanding of quiz 2 and how you might be able to resolve the issues there. And, well, you can see how you go. Now, if you've got any questions, put them in the comments below the video, and then I can feed back to you directly, or you can try and track me down on the internet or around Wintec if you're a Wintec student at Rotokauri. And yeah, all good. So don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you wish. And yeah, oh well, we'll see you next week. Quiz 3. All good. Cheers. See you.